I want to move to this topic. It is why Harris lost. I'm already, fingers being pointed. He lost because she can't talk. I mean, here's the list I saw this morning. She couldn't overcome the overall pitches that she's just not all that bright. Started from the beginning. She's just not bright enough. They talked about the fact that she failed her bar exam, and that took hold. People didn't think it did, but that turned into the word salad thing. The word salad thing stuck, but it was just an extension of she's not that bright. It almost, to me, became the same thing as if I said, what is your vision of Dukakis? What would you say?
Potato. Oh, no. Dukakis is the tank.
The helmet.
Yeah.
He's in the helmet. He's a little guy riding around.
And
and that's a visual.
Quayle was the potato guy.
That's right. Quayle can't spell potato. Or I'm glad to be in Latin. I don't speak Latin American or whatever he said. So, but that stuck. And the media ignored it, that it was sticking. And the way you could see it is on these sites where you come back, word salad, word salad, word salad. You go to TikTok.
Trump's lawyers actually, in the lawsuit they filed against CBS, they said word salad.
Oh, really?
They even put that phrase in that lawsuit.
And what do they say? They're saying there that it was
CBS
edited.
to cut out the word salad.
And then when you listen to what she said, it really was word salad. So that stuck, which frankly I'm a little surprised by, but it made sense when they said, okay, she's not that bright, word salad, let's not have her out there, right? Talk about that. Let's keep her, let's tamp her down, let's not let her do what Trump is doing, and that is grab a microphone everywhere you can, right?
Yeah, and I will say, look, to these points, and you're just reading this because this is what people are saying.
These aren't my points.
Right. I want to make sure everybody understands that. Because, look, I do think she is intelligent. I do not think she had the word salad in the way that either Trump or even Biden had.
Okay.
She was way more eloquent than both of them are. Still not perfect, but definitely not an Obama. But compared to the other two dudes, she was a Rhodes Scholar.
I'm indifferent about it. I don't think she was not intelligent. I don't think she's a Rhodes Scholar. I'm indifferent.
Yeah.
I mean, she was okay. I mean, she was okay.
But like your point here, in the early days of this, first month or two, whatever, up until the debate, she just wasn't doing interviews. And for the longest time...
But why, Farron?
Well, it's because they wanted to keep her on a short leash. For whatever reasons they may have had, they said, nope, we got to contain this. And I think part of it was, we're riding such high momentum, which they had when Biden dropped out and she took over.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was amazing what was happening. And they said, okay, let's not have her do anything that could screw it up. No misspeaking, no accidentally insulting a group of people. Let's just let Trump continue to hang himself, basically. Mm-hmm. And then that strategy worked for about a month, but then they didn't change their strategy quick enough. As soon as you start getting diminishing returns, you adjust, and they did not adjust.
Okay.
They towards the end, the last 2 or 3 weeks, they tried to start doing more, but by that point, we're already in early voting, so people are already making their decisions.
Yeah, you can't go back and change your ballot.
Yeah, so it was a big misstep there. I don't think she ran a bad campaign. I will say that the lack of interviews after the diminishing returns was a big misstep. Embracing all of the worst people we've ever seen from the Bush administration.
Oh my God, Cheney
was the biggest misstep.
Liz Cheney is nothing but a war pimp.
Alberto Gonzalez,
torture guy. He's the guy that ran the torture program. Liz Cheney, whose daddy killed 1 million people based on the lie that her daddy created. And Liz Cheney said, yeah, Daddy, that was a good idea, and I'm going to support you. She is a war pimp.
Yeah.
Why would you show up with a woman that has blood all over her hands and say, this might be my Secretary of State? This might be running war operations in Ukraine.
It's like if Jeff Epstein was still alive and he endorsed you, you wouldn't say, well, come on stage with me, bud. Everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
Just because everybody knows your name doesn't mean that they like you.
Yeah.
Most of this country has not forgotten what the Cheneys did. I think a lot of people did forget about Alberto Gonzales, but they knew he was part of it somehow.
Well, he engineered it. That's
Right,
what,
he was the torture.
He wrote the torture memo. This is how we go about torturing people to death if we have to. That's Alberto.
But we've got an entire generation of voters that weren't even alive
Yeah.
when that happened.
Yeah.
So they had no idea who these people were. And then as they learned about it, mostly from Donald Trump attacking them, which is what the Democrats should have been doing instead, they realized, like, well, wait a minute. Whoa, hold up. A torture memo, what is this?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was not a good idea to embrace any of those freaks.
Okay, so you don't buy into the word salad thing. You weren't sold on the idea that she's not that bright. I agree with that. I think what I saw looked like word salad. Whether she's bright or not, I don't know. But you think that and these folks who say that think that that's why they tamped her down.
Yeah.
Don't let her out speaking. The other thing they said is that she couldn't shed the light, she couldn't shed the ghost of Biden. In other words, the Biden guy was there, up and saying the crazy shit he always says. I mean, he's always going to be there. He's always going to say something like the American public, half the American public is garbage. He's always going to do that. Whether he said exactly that or not, it's going to be construed like that. So she can't shed his ghost. Tell me what you think about that.
I think one of the quotes that I saw circulating all through election night, mostly from people on the far left, was where she said that no, there's nothing that she would do differently than what Biden has done. And even though we have seen an economic rebound, we have seen better unemployment numbers, we have seen all of these metrics get better under Biden, most people don't physically see them. They're not experiencing it in their day-to-day lives, regardless of what the metrics tell us. So when they hear her say, no, I'm not going to do anything different, these people are thinking, well, listen, my life kind of sucks, and it's sucked under him. I want something different.
Yeah.
And you're pledging nothing different? Well, that's not good. You have to differentiate yourself. But she was afraid to. She didn't want to hurt Biden's feelings. She had to still be like, well, I'm a part of this administration.
Do you buy that? She didn't want to hurt his feelings. She was working behind his back.
She was using his same, campaign staffers.
She was working behind his back for weeks before he stepped down.
Well, let me ask you this, actually, because while we're on the subject, do you think we would have seen different results? Let's say he dropped out in February. Okay. Do you think we still would have been looking at the same thing?
Very possible.
On
it could have been different. Yeah. Had he done what we were urging him to do.
We got so attacked for telling him to do.
Oh my God, every day we did a show, we would be just land blasted. How dare you tell? I think it could have gone different. Because it has a natural cycle. A campaign, if you look at any of them, they have ups and downs and ups and downs. And the timing on this, buddy, caught her on the big down.
Yeah.
Even though the New York Times was trying to say, hey, just 2 days before the election, she's ahead in 4 swing states. Even though the New York Times lying through their teeth, trying to take all of the material they can, compile it and say, this is over for Trump. Which brings me to this next step. There's some things that you can't overcome with what I call push polling and trying to change the narrative with polling and trying to convince donors that everything's okay, so send us money because the polls are good, or trying to empower people to go to the polls because if you do, it's going to be a landslide for the candidate you want. There's some things you can't overcome. And the people who say why she lost is the tons of billions of dollars, the celebrity freak show, the cacophony of the media, all beating the hell out of Trump. She still couldn't overcome the border, inflation, and I don't agree with this, but what has been determined is a below average economy. I don't think it is a below average economy.
Right.
She couldn't, and this was interesting to me. Some of the folks saying she couldn't avert the whole woke everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
It seemed like she was
that's how they paint.
Yeah, she was in office during woke everything. Woke, whether it's trans, woke LGBT, woke everything, and she couldn't overcome the fact that had been hung around her neck.
Right.
And when you look at her in California, if you're really honest about what she was in California, it was anything but woke.
Right.
I mean, it was anything but woke. She was putting people in prison for smoking, for marijuana offenses, and she was tough on crime. But nevertheless, that hung around her neck. Those are things they say hung around her neck, and there's nothing that could change that. What's your take on that?
I do agree. And again, I'm not saying she deserved those things, but the woke thing, the transgender athletes part, the Republicans made that a huge part of their campaign.
Massive.
That was in the ads that were running down here where you and I live.
They're going to chop up your child and change their gender.
Kamala wants men to use women's restrooms.
Right.
And people, if you're watching this from a blue state, you may say, well, that's silly. Who would do? Those were in the ads that were on my TV, that were on your TV. And look, I'll go back to this. When I was on TYT Tuesday night, I sat there explaining to them because they were talking about like, oh my God, she just lost Georgia. She's about to lose North Carolina. And no offense to them, I really like them. They're all in LA. And I said, listen, guys, I have lived in the South my entire life. This does not surprise me at all. It surprises me that people thought these were swing states.
Yeah, me too.
Not you guys, but I said, it's one thing to hear the media who is either sitting in DC, LA, or New York City. Blue, blue, blue.
Bubble.
And they sit there and they say, no, we're making inroads in these areas. And I said, how often do you come here? How often do you drive around the South? When was the last time you traveled through Alabama or Mississippi or Georgia?
You drove through trailer parks and low-income housing.
It is so easy to sit there and quarterback from afar and criticize these people that do live down here.
Well, don't you just call them garbage and move on? I mean, isn't that just call them garbage, deplorables, and move on?
Right.
Isn't that the thing to do? Apparently not.
And so it's easy for people to lose sight of the rest of the country when you don't see this every day. We see it every day. So these things are not surprising. It's not surprising to see Hispanics breaking for Trump because we see it and we hear it and we talk to them and we understand. We may disagree with them on why they're doing it, but they do have their reasons that they genuinely believe. And once you get out of those bubbles, maybe, just maybe, travel to a red state for once.
Yeah, spend a week there.
Yeah, all of you folks.
Actually talk to the people who you think are so frigging stupid, who are anything but stupid.
Yeah, they make fun of Fox News because, we went to this small town diner. Well, guess what? Those are representative of those particular areas.
Right. Okay, all vibe, no substance.
I saw that
all
this
vibe,
morning
all
too.
vibe, no substance. Now, let me remind you of the segment you did with me. When this all started, she had all the celebrities around her, the movie stars, the singers, and we're going to really get a good vibe, the big smile and the guffaw laughter that she had. It's all vibes. I'm the nice person. Trump is not nice person.
Going on SNL this past
all
weekend.
Vibe and no substance. Give me your thought about it.
I think, yes, that is the image that was portrayed. In reality, she was not that to a degree because she had very detailed plans. And I had talked about them in videos, and they were good plans. Plans to lower prescription drug prices, plans to get the housing market under control and affordable, plans to protect Social Security. The problem is when she was up on stage, exactly, she wasn't saying, hey, listen, this is going to be boring, but here are my plans. Because the public can't stomach having to think about something intelligibly for 5 seconds.
So Beyonce, sing freedom for us,
yeah.
Right? That's how ridiculous it was.
And that is what
or J-Lo, carry a tune for us. And the American public go, what are you doing here? This is a presidential election, and you have these numbnuts who can, great singers. I love Beyonce myself. I like her last album; it was fantastic. But you don't confuse that with believing that that's going to change America.